just filmed like half of this video and my camera wasn't even on. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be having a little bit of a holiday wrap-up because we just finished the 12 days of SFX-mas. We're going to be mostly talking about that, but we're also going to be talking about what else I'm going to be doing on the channel for the rest of the month, and you know, a few other little things, like whatever my mind wanders to and I just feel like talking about. So with all that being said, let's go and get started. So first off, before I say anything else, I have to give a huge shout out to everyone who has been supporting me throughout the 12 days of SFX-mas. I am so happy that you guys are enjoying my content because I love being creative like this. I like taking ideas and just like really growing with them and trying to expand them as much as possible. And so I'm so happy that I was able to create these looks, especially because you guys seem to really enjoy my Halloween videos and I loved them so much. I have never felt more creative in makeup and just like in general than I did in September and October getting those looks prepared. I loved that series so much. It was definitely been my favorite makeup series that I've done this and ever honestly, and so I'm so happy with how that turned out. That definitely seemed to be your favorite videos too, and so I'm really happy that I was able to take that and project that into December, because I've had the idea for SFX-mas for over a year now, and I've just been like planning and getting my ideas ready, writing them down. Literally last Christmas I wrote down a whole bunch of SFX-mas ideas and then I lost the paper, so I had to try and recreate them, which is totally fine. But I am so happy with how all of the looks turned out. And going back to October, I'm relieved that I was able to get the looks I got done then. And then afterwards, obviously, I was just creatively exhausted, which you can ask any artist, makeup artist, songwriter, you know, actual artist or anything like that. And if you push yourself so hard, you will be creatively drained. And so with me, I was definitely creatively drained for like maybe half a week or something after October, just because I'd been planning and stuff, and I just always have so many ideas, but I was more physically creatively drained, if that makes sense. So in the month of November, I wasn't uploading as much, which was definitely very weird for me. I mean, I was still working and doing stuff like I stated in my favorites video, but it was definitely a different atmosphere than I'm used to working with. And so I am just happy that I was able to pull myself back together for December, because it got to a point in November that I was getting worried that I wasn't going to be able to have the videos ready for the December, and not necessarily have them ready, but they weren't going to be as good as I know they could be, in the sense that I would start doing makeup on myself, it would look bad, but I'm like, meh, it's good enough, which I'm not that kind of person to just be like, oh, it's good enough, I'm gonna upload it. Like, I put a lot of myself into my looks because I feel like I need to prove it to myself, like I can do this. I have this idea in my head and I have to be able to match it. So I'm so happy that I was able to pull myself together. It was kind of around Thanksgiving that I was really able to be like, I know exactly like what my hand needs to do, if that makes sense, because when I have the idea in my head, it's almost like it translates to my hand is just tracing it, because it's like I can almost see how it needs to look on me. And for the first few weeks in November, it wasn't looking like that. It wasn't right. It felt off and nothing was turning out how it needed to look. So I know I've said it so many times, I'm just so happy that I was able to make it work. And you know, it's definitely had its struggles, like pre-filming all of these looks. Like Scrooge, for example, oh my gosh, he was by far my favorite look I did for SFX-mas, because I had to really challenge myself with him. Like, he was basically the Pennywise of Christmas for me, because I had never made handmade prosthetics without a lab. Because when I was in school, I was making them with a lab. You were making molds, you were filling them, you were making your foam, you were running foam all the time. And, you know, I was like always working in the lab. But the thing is the way I decided to do it with the flour and latex technique is you would not likely ever use that as a professional. Now, granted, like, there's no wrong way to do it, but that is not necessarily the idea you would go for if you're working on a movie set or something like that. So I felt like I had a lot of pressure on me because I know the right way to do it, but with my situation, I had to kind of make do with working with something else because I didn't order a prosthetic nose. I wanted to make my own. But that being said, I also didn't order scar wax, which typically is what you would use when making a fake nose like on the spot. Like that's something a lot of YouTubers would use. And so I decided that I was going to do the flour and latex technique, and let me just tell you, I was so upset afterwards because I realized all of the other techniques that there are to make it that would have worked better for me, if that makes sense. So for example, the prime way to make it that I would definitely try in the future is you mold it out of clay, and then you start stippling and swiping your latex on over it, and you just keep building it up and eventually come out with a thinner prosthetic nose. And I wish I would have done that looking back, because I wanted so much more detail to be in that nose. I knew exactly how I wanted it to look. I wanted it to be long and pointy and kind of come over the mouth a little bit, and I really wanted to accentuate like the little hooks right here, the nostrils, and I wanted to add those pores and stuff. I wanted to make it look so realistic. But with the knowledge I had at the time and the utensils and stuff I had, I was just like, I'm just gonna do the flour and latex. So I sat down, I started building it up. But the thing with flour and latex is it's still latex, it still dries, and you can't really sculpt it, if that makes sense. Like you can get the general idea, but it's not gonna be perfect. Also, there was no stability. Like if I were to build it up with clay and go over go over the nose with it, it would have had that stability to like where the tip of the nose would have been fine. But with mine, it's just like it kept drooping, and so I had to keep reshaping it and trying to make it work, and eventually like it wasn't working out. But I finally got it to work like once I started drying it, and I'm still so happy with how Scrooge turned out, because I faced a challenge, and as I was applying the makeup, I was literally thinking to myself like, how am I gonna make this look anywhere near being realistic, because it was so bad. There were no edges to the prosthetic, so blending that out was a pain, which, you know, that's the big thing that you learn in school, is like you have to focus on the edges. They have to be nice and thin so you can blend them out, because that's what helps make it look so realistic. Not like a whole bunch of Bondos stuck inside that's just like trying to hold on to it. That's what I did, by the way. So that was a bummer, is I didn't get to focus on the edges so much, but also applying it and having it be such a stark difference in skin tone and color from my face. Because here's the thing, is I had to try and blend it with my face, and so of course you had to try and get the undertones and, you know, the ruddiness and all of that stuff that a natural living human has. You had to try and translate that from a prosthetic. And so I was trying to do that, and I just had to keep thinking back to when I was in school. The most important thing I can tell you about coloring a prosthetic to match your skin tone is it requires so much patience and just reapplication of color and going back in and going back in and going back in, because you just have to be willing to be trying to match it and it look nothing near the color that it needs to be, and you just keep going at it and going at it and going at it until you literally think your fingers are gonna fall off or something, because you're like, how is this gonna change? And then you look away and you look back and it's closer to where it needs to be. And that's kind of it with any makeup, is you're working on it for so long and staring at it that if you take a small break, look away, and then look back, it is going to look so much like what you envision. Like you just have to be able to take a step back, clear your mind, and then look at it from a fresh perspective. And so it got to the point in the middle of working on Scrooge that I was literally like, this isn't what's happening. I don't understand. And I think it's when I started using the chip brush with the rose adjuster, because Scrooge has so much redness on his nose. It's like insane, and on his face. And I looked away and I looked back and I was just like, huh, this is where I need it to be. I was definitely so relieved with how it turned out. And, you know, maybe the blending wasn't so good. I didn't get the pores and, you know, all the tiny details that maybe I would have wanted, but overall, like, I transformed myself into a stingy old man with a beak for a nose. Like I was able to do that, and I pushed myself to do that, and I filmed that at 2 a.m. and I got to bed at 6 a.m. that morning because I was working on it. And so you need to push yourself. You have to keep pushing yourself because you're not gonna get better unless you force yourself to get better. And I love the tangent that this went on. Me with winged eyeliner. I can show you pictures from my winged eyeliner sophomore year to now. My winged eyeliner now is nowhere near perfect. There's so many days that I look at it, I'm like, it's like 2 different people did this. Like it's not perfect, which is fine. We're human, it happens. But I forced myself to do winged liner every day until I could look at the photos and be like, I did better. It looks better and it's improved. But anyways, like, you have to be able to force yourself to try and get better, and you have to throw yourself out of your comfort zone sometimes and be willing to try things that you're not used to doing. If you want to make yourself look like Scrooge, maybe, you know, if you don't usually do prosthetics, maybe try out prosthetics for a change. If you don't like it, stick to body paint, but like, try and force yourself to do things differently. Like, I literally made a headdress. I made 2 crowns, and I'm not that crafty. I mean, I was able to make them, but like, I don't think off the top of my head like, I'm gonna make this crown today. You know, it's just, that's not a craft I focus in. So I was able to take my creativity and make it into something that I don't normally make. Like, I think about it because I literally think to myself like, oh, I don't sew. Well, like, is one project one day gonna actually be making me sew? You know, it's crazy to think of how far you'll go to make something look the way you intend it to look, like what your mind has pictured for it, how far you're gonna go to try and replicate that exactly. So I'm so happy. Also, another thing with Scrooge is when I went into it, I had the idea that I'm like, I want this to look as realistic as possible. And that stopped the moment I saw the nose. Because of the way the nose turned out, I'm like, this does not look as realistic as I had intended to make it, and ended up looking more theatrical. So I was able to adjust my idea to that idea. And so, you know, that leaves open the idea for making a completely realistic Scrooge for another video. Like, I would love to do that one day with like the actual stretch and stipple technique with latex. I would absolutely love to do that. I feel like that'd be so creepy. So, you know, give me a few years, like, and I'll come back at y'all for Christmas with like a realistic Scrooge, and it'll be so cool to see how much I've grown and all the new techniques I've learned. And so that is definitely something that I would love to look forward to doing. Okay, that was a really long tangent, but it's okay. So now we're gonna be talking about my plans for the rest of the month. They're really kind of simple. My idea, and so as you're watching this, I've actually already pre-filmed and edited all of my videos for December. And I did this because the way I saw December was all of my friends in college are coming home for Christmas, and my family, like my siblings, are gonna be out of school, and you know, they're all gonna be on break and they're all gonna be hanging out. And so I decided, hey, overwork yourself and force yourself to get this stuff done so you can have a break too, because I am still exhausted from Halloween and I've just been dragging myself along to get everything done. Like, don't get me wrong, like, when I'm talking about all the Christmas looks and stuff, I'm so happy that I was able to get enough creativity for that, but I'm still burnt out, so I'm still tired. I'm currently filming this at 1:21 a.m. because everything just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and you know, that's like how schedules work, as things go up in the air. And so by the time you're watching this, I'm going to have every December video pre-filmed and pre-edited, so when they're going up, I'm spending time with my family, and hopefully you're spending time with your family too. I feel like that is a big thing I wanted to convey, is I'm not uploading anything on like Christmas, for example, because I feel like that's a day that you should really be spending time with your family. And if you can, try and avoid the internet. Like, it just, you know, enjoy your family, enjoy the time that you have with them. I will be uploading 2 New Year's Eve looks. One is going to be a more simple glam look, and the other is going to be a glam New Year's Eve makeup look. And of course there's going to be my December favorites. I debated doing like a 2017 favorites, but I really like, maybe next year or something like that. I really like the idea of having the December favorites, because I know a lot of YouTubers don't do both December favorites and then the year favorites. But I feel like that's something I would do, is I would have both, because I feel like my favorites in December shouldn't be negated or anything like that just because it's the end of the year, if that makes sense. So definitely am going to have my December favorites video up, and that's actually going to be going up on New Year's Eve. But it's a more talkative, fun video. It's something you can watch between commercials for the lighting of the tree. If you guys watch that, do you guys watch that? It's so fun. That's like a tradition for us every New Year's. And then also, of course, next week I'm going to be having some fun Christmas glam looks to go up before Christmas, and so I'm really happy that I was able to get everything pre-filmed, and I'm still editing currently. This is like past me high. But by the time you're watching this, I'll have everything edited, and so I'm really pushing myself for that goal, to be able to look at Christmas break and be like, I don't have to worry about anything. Because listen, I know in a real job you don't get a break, and so I'm very fortunate that I am able to take that break for myself, because I am becoming incredibly exhausted, and I don't want to be so burnt out with YouTube that I don't look forward to making the videos. That is the last thing I want, because I see this as a creative outlet, and I always want my content to be good, so I always want to be focusing on the quality of my content as much as possible. But I am really excited for you guys to see the looks I'm going to be uploading next week. I love how they turned out. They're so fun. I definitely threw myself out of my comfort zone for some of them, but I love how they turned out. Like, it's just, I'm really pushing myself to do things that I always could see myself doing them, but like actually doing them is a completely different idea, if you know what I mean. So it's really interesting seeing how I'm taking this idea that I have and really bringing it to life, and doing looks on myself that, you know, I used to think like, oh, that's not gonna be flattering for me, blah blah blah, and then I have it and I'm like, who is she? What? Like, but I mean, it's not something I'd wear all the time, but it's still fun when you do it, obviously. Okay, little tangent. I love this backdrop so much. I am in love. I thought I loved my normal like background area. I don't ever want to take this down. I just feel like it's so complete and pulled together, and now I'm thinking like, wow, I need to find something like this for year round. Wow, I need more pillows. Wow, I love it so much. And my room is full of Christmas decorations, like my film room, and I love it so much. And everything is cozy and Christmassy, and this is what I've been waiting for. Also, I'm gonna ask you guys a question real fast. I know this is kind of unrelated to everything I've been talking about, but I've been contemplating doing this for a while now. So obviously I live in a small town, so people, it's not like when I was in Los Angeles and I could literally leave my house looking like a demon or something, like an actual demon, like makeup. And, you know, people would just kind of be like, oh, but when I did the Scrooge makeup, I was contemplating going to Whataburger, because Whataburger is 24 hours, and, you know, just going to Whataburger dressed as Scrooge. And because I like to gauge people's reaction, I think it's so much fun. And also, like, it's not something people do in Bernie ever. And so it was definitely something that I was really considering doing. And so just a question, is that something I should do? I'm gonna like leave a poll here. Yeah, here, it's gonna be here. And you guys tell me if that is something I should do at some point when I do a makeup more drastic, and if I should go out in public like that, because I want to know. Like, obviously I wanted to do it so bad when I did Pennywise, but that's obviously not something I could do, because, you know, with American history of people dressing up like clowns and chasing people with machetes, I would die because Texas people would shoot me. But, you know, I just don't feel like dying. You know, I have enough fake blood. Speaking of fake blood, I have gotten to the point where I will be like walking around the mall or something, and I look down and I see blood on myself, and I don't know if it's fake blood or if it's real at this point. Like, I just don't know anymore, because it's 50-50. It's actually either real, like I cut myself, or it's just leftover scab blood that somehow is on me. But that doesn't surprise me because I have scab blood everywhere. Okay, so I think I said everything I needed to say. I hope I did, otherwise I'm gonna be editing this video mad at myself like, I meant to say that. So hopefully I said everything I wanted to say. But once again, thank you guys so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it. I love the feedback I get from you guys, and especially the companies too that have been reaching out to me. First of all, my contact lens companies are A1. They are just amazing. They're sharing my work and I love them so much. And thank you so much to the other brands I am using that are giving me feedback to the products I'm using. I love that so much. I'm so happy to be able to share your work. And so yeah, just thank you guys so much for supporting me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to stick around for my next Christmas videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!